Anya here from EduTV, and I welcome you all to another exciting episode of today's podcast that is on EduTalks by Extra Marks. And our guest for today's interaction is Mr. Uttam Kumar Jha, the principal from Ekayana School based out of Indore. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Joining us as a host for the session for today, we have with us Ms. Kusum Rao from Extra Marks Education, who will be guiding this engaging discussion today to discuss on the topic planning with purpose, lesson design for deeper learning, which is going to focus on how thoughtful lesson planning can truly transform classroom experiences and students' outcome. Over to you, Kusum.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for that handover. Uttam sir, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
So I have a couple of things that I would want to learn from you. I strongly believe, sir, that when we get into any mode of life, any learning in life, I think being a learner first and then a doer always works best. So I'm here to learn a lot from you, a lot of questions to ask like a curious learner. And I'm sure you're very familiar with those in your whole tenure of being an educationist.
Yeah.
So I have some visuals to show you, which will actually help us do the context setting rather than me doing it.
Okay.
So I'll play some of those, and I have questions to ask as we go along. I hope that should be fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so as we're here to understand if planning really works and planning with a purpose, a definite target, or an aim in mind, if it really helps lesson design and facilitates deeper learning with students. So, the first little visual that I have for you, uh, please go ahead and enjoy it because it's a little small. It's a small child who's not even started school, but I think he's following his parent. And what I understand from it is maybe this is one little thing that NEP and NCF and all the policies that are in the air, I would say, and they have pages and pages to be read. I feel that one little act that is depicted here in this video, uh, help me understand if you would agree if this is what the policy wants us to do in a very surface level kind of a piece here. So allow me to share my screen.
Okay.
I hope the audio will also be available to you. I'll just play it in a bit.
God knows, rock in a hard place, battery control. And to believe my compass, my transport.
I hope it was visible.
Yeah, it was visible.
You're on mute.
Oh, okay. Is it better now? Am I
Yeah.
audible now?
Now you are audible.
Okay. So, sir, I'm not a educator.
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
So I'm not an educator by, I would say, the career, that path that I follow, but I'm sure a parent. And most of the questions that I would direct to you would be from that layman angle where I understand things better when I look at my own child growing.
Mhm.
So, would you agree that this is somewhat a definition of what NEP and NCF want teachers to do, or even parents?
What I have seen in the video, the child was not able to cross or move on that path because of those hurdles which were on the way, and he was struggling to get out from that because he wanted to follow the father, whosoever the guardian wanted to go along with him. But it was struggling. He was not shown the way it has to be cleared. So
Right.
he did on his own. He tried. He found some way to come out from that hurdle, and then he easily moved on that path. So this was basically wanted to show when you put the child in that kind of a puzzle to come out, the child has that inner ability to try to get out of or to get the fruitful results or get out from that puzzle or solve that puzzle properly. So it happens. And if the child needs some help somewhere, even after trying for so long, then the mentor has to help little bit so that child should further try to get that thing resolved further. So that develops that critical thinking and an analytical approach in the child, and always the child would always be ready to take up those challenges in life and try to solve those problems and challenges.
I so agree with you. So you've put it exactly the way we saw it. In fact, I also noticed that the parent did not choose to help him get over
Yeah, did
the
not. Again, put it back to the.
he put him back, that you tangled yourself too
Yes,
much,
yes,
and you just need to learn, try
yes,
again, start
yes,
all over again.
yes, yes, yes.
So, I mean, how as a parent I could decode it was that help them in a very guided way. Don't give them the answers.
That is true, but only thing is what I would add further into it. The child also thinks that way that somebody is there. If I will be in trouble, I would be guided by someone, and somebody is there to help me out. If you leave the child and you are not there in the picture at all, like the parent was walking on the way and leaving the child behind, and the child started crying also. So the child might have thought of that the parent has left unattended to that child. That feel should not be there. The parent has to see the child to come out, and then he has to move. This is my opinion of the whole picture, the way it has to be made like that.
I completely agree with you, sir. Now, what I understand is teachers are also being pushed to pick up the similar kind of lesson planning approaches where they are guided in very subtle ways. And teachers do have this, I would say, miraculous way of preempting that what would a child do, like an
Mhm.
MCQ. They know the ABC and they would know that there is no other deviation, and they would launch very guided activities and other kind of things in class where they would be pushed to find their way,
Yeah,
which I
definitely.
think
But the basic foundation has to be made, and that is why we say
absolutely.
to plan a lesson, you have to give the basic foundation of that particular chapter so that the child could understand, and then the child would be able to solve those problems which are based on that particular topic. I'm not
Absolutely.
saying that the teacher has to give the answers to the questions and dictate the answers of all the questions which are there in the chapter, but the chapter has to be explained in such a manner. There has to be some interaction, some discussion, some and some
Context
puzzle,
setting.
some questions to be asked, and then the proper learning has to be there. The outcome which we normally talk about, what is the learning outcome of that chapter, that whether that chapter could be correlated with the life day-to-day life or not, all those things should be explained in such a manner so that child could easily try to find out the answers of any question which are based on that particular topic.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And you rightly said that there has to be a context, there has to be some unfolding of the topic for them to attempt anything as they walk along. that actually leads us to my second question that I have for you. So, as you rightly put, that there has to be context setting for them to move into an activity mode or get into an experiential learning mode.
Yes.
Now, if they have to move into an experiential learning mode, and the attempt here is that they don't get into memorization or rote learning, as we call it. Now, would you say that it is actually possible to integrate experiential learning in every lesson plan and every 40-minute or 30-minute period that is executed in class?
Uh, See, the planning, that is why we say the planning is must. That how much time you are devoting to each chapter, how many days, and the whole planning has to be made accordingly. And then how much activities should be planned to make the deeper learning of that particular context. So everything has to be planned well. Without planning, if you go ahead, then you will find that some children might have not understood, and then there will be, because the class is mixed class, it's there would be some slow learner, some average, some excellent one. So maybe those children, those who are good in understanding, they may move forward, and there may be some slow learner and they are not coping up with the syllabi. And then you cannot move further because you have to take those children also along with you, and then your planning would be failed. So the planning is very, very essential in such cases to decide that this chapter needs how many activities to be conducted for understanding, and how it has to be conducted, how much time it will take, and so that in 40 minutes of the period, everything could be made possible for children to understand things well. So that without planning, if you go ahead, then everything would be failed, and you will not be able to finish the syllabus on time, and you cannot conduct the examination, you cannot go for revision also. So that problem may occur.
I agree. Everything falls like a deck of cards then.
Yeah.
And it's very scary to get into that situation where the syllabus is not complete and you're heading for an exam.
Mm.
Now, coming back to the point that you made, sir, that activities and the planning has to be done in such a way that every child in the class feels being taken along and
Yeah.
not being left out. Now, if I go back to the theory of learner types, where you have auditory learners, where you have kinesthetic learners, and you have visual learners. Now, everyone learns in a different way. Even if I look at the fact that you, me, and Tanya here, uh, I personally understand with visuals. I like to see images or moving, videos that help me understand things better. I've also seen people who like to write while they're listening to important information because they like to keep themselves occupied with something to do, or rather shut their eyes and just listen to the audio. I've actually come across a couple of people, even at work, when numbers are being discussed, they can recollect exact numbers from conversations as old as 3-4 years old. Why? Because they say, I can hear the audio, I recall audio. And it was pretty surprising to me when I thought of the fact that when a teacher plans, they plan in all directions. It's not easy to plan with keeping all the elements in mind. So my second question to you, sir, was what do you think are the major challenges teachers come across in making sure that no one is left out? And as per you, do you think technology can actually help overcome those kind of challenges?
Definitely, definitely without technology, because if you see scientifically, the auditory and visuals and activity based or something, because different, as you said, the different children have different pace of learning, and they have different learning pattern also. Some they like visuals to be shown to them, and somebody would understand through auditory explanations also. But scientifically, there is some percentage of different way of learning. The visuals makes larger impact of learning. The auditory part, when we talk about it, has lesser percentage of understanding of the things, and making certain points of what we are listening and what we are seeing on data, which we have to make some certain points also to remember or revise or recapitulate those things in later cases. So everything needs to be done. I'm of that opinion. And that is why technology, because in 40 minutes, the teacher has to write something on the board and then see the child, what the child is doing. And if the technology could help to understand the learners, those who are not answering the questions and whether they have understood or not, and the differentiated learning, what we normally talk about, here the technology helps us to find out who have not understood. If certain questions which are there on the screen and they can be answered by every child, like playing a button, if they click a button given to them as a remote, and we can come to know that who understood it well and who has not understood it well, who are the slow learner, who haven't are the excellent children, those who understand quite easily. So, but the technology definitely helps, and we are introducing those technology in the classroom. And now it is very, very simple. Earlier, when I was in a school, then teachers used to draw the diagrams on the board. Now you have to click the interactive panel. You get those pictures there on the board. You get the 3D images also, and calculation also. If you have to make angles, you have to uh, uh, calculate the distance in centimeter or inches. You can put the scale over there on the interactive panel and you can go ahead with that. So a lot of time through technology, the teachers could easily save, and that can be utilized for various activities which can be conducted, and the teacher has to see only how children have understood and performing those activities to understand the content well. This is my opinion. The technology is very, very essential these days.
That's very, I mean, I would say very honest of you to say that technology is very essential. But I do see during my interactions with teachers, Uttam sir, that many teachers get overwhelmed with everything that they see online. They might find a lot of questions on in three different books or maybe Google surfing that they may have done. They might go to different AI chats and try to find activities that can work. And end of the day, they land up with so many different things at hand. They end up getting confused what to be used in class and what not, what is to be eliminated. And exactly like you said, the time factor is always a very sensitive thing when it comes to lesson planning. If the activity or the video played or the explanation is not done in time, we actually lose out on the time for completing syllabus, and not to mention the kind of hybrid switches we have these days with various situations. It's not very easy to complete syllabus, and the pressure is always evidently visible when talking to teachers. So, sir, this is one other question that I have for you. What are the major challenges you see with teachers when they're doing lesson planning?
Um, Lesson planning, they normally, if you talk about the trained teachers, those who have been trained well, how to make the planning, how what would be the learning outcomes if they are on curricular goals, and if you have to divide into that chapter into different aspects, and then finally you come to what goal has to be achieved, what should be the learning outcome of it, and how to achieve that learning outcome. If you have a systematic way of taking that particular content with full of activity and engagement of the children in your teaching learning process, then it happens. And sometimes when you are just delivering the content to the children and you are thinking that the children will understand if I am explaining it on the board or I'm telling them the way it has to be done, but everybody will not be able to understand the way we are thinking of. So that is the teacher's problem, that they cannot take the whole class along with them, and that is why we organize various remedial classes. We are calling them, we are asking them to stay back, and the teachers are working with along with them and then bringing them to that level. But still, they find some difficulty. It is all happening because the planning is not being done properly, and they have not thought of that how the slow learner is going to respond to my this way of this pattern of teaching, and how the excellent one is going to respond to that way of my teaching. So that is why it happens, and that is where we are guiding the teachers how we have to plan a lesson and how to incorporate the learning style of all learning styles suits to everybody, and everybody can understand it well, and maybe little different paces, but they will be able to understand it well. So mostly the teachers find problems. The few percentage of children, they are always left out. They're unable to understand what the teacher has taught on that particular day.
I completely agree with you. So, with the experienced teachers, usually lesson planning comes with ease. But
Yeah,
when you go down to teachers who are fairly new into the system, they need a lot of hand holding
yeah,
and shadow systems within the
yeah,
system to
definitely.
streamline things. And as far as I understand, most schools believe in creation of lesson planning and getting them approved from HODs for the same reason. That is why it is aligned that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So, my follow up question to this is, do you ever advise your teachers to include digital resources while they're planning lessons? So, when there is an explanation of a concept, do you push them across all subjects to include some sort of uh, visuals or maybe audio visual aids that
Yes,
might help?
yes, we always say that is why we have placed interactive panel in all the classes,
Okay.
and which are enabled with internet connections also. They can play videos also, they can play whatever they have brought the content to be shown in the visual form. That can be played on that panel, so that this could easily make it easy for children to understand things.
That's very nice to hear because you've practically implemented it.
Yes.
In fact, with extra marks, also we have the similar kind of a thought flow. In fact, we take it one more step up where the children can take the entire curriculum home as well. So, going back to my one example that I usually use across with educators, when I used to learn mathematics and specifically chemistry, I used to struggle a lot as a child, and even physics because numerics are involved. Biology was doable for me. So when I would be in class, my teacher would explain the numerics in a different way with different steps. I would come home and my tutor would explain it to me in with
And well.
almost double or three times the steps, so I understand how it is done. Still, when I would be confused, my father would show it to me in very short steps. Now, I would make sense out of usually what my tutor or father would explain, but God forbid if I went and wrote those steps in school, I would never get my marks because the teacher would say that you removed some of the steps or you added few that I never taught you, so not required. And half or 1 mark, like 50% of the marks would go by. So, I mean, keeping that thought in mind, this is one thing that Extra Marks has done that whatever being taught in class, students are allowed to take it home and they can learn from exactly the same module at home as well. That too in a guided way with parent partnership. So, I completely agree with you with the thought that yes, digitization helps. Teaching with animation helps even better. And to top up the cherry on the cake would be you let the child take it home. And when they have exactly the same thing following in continuity at home, I feel it really works even better, provided they have the
That's true.
access.
That's true. If they, because it is always happening the way the teachers are teaching here in the school and they go at home, and the tutors they come because it's a fashion for all the families. Unless you take any tutor to guide your child, it is difficult for child to do well in the examination. This is what the people always think about, and they don't believe what the teachers in a school, they are putting that much of efforts. There is no need of tutor as such at home, or if the child could practice at home, and do it in a similar fashion. There will not be any problem. And the problem comes in the child can come tomorrow and ask the same question again. The teacher would be able to guide the child further. But still, the tutors, they are having different pattern of teaching. The teachers are teaching with different pattern. Child gets confused. What is happening? What is correct? What is incorrect? And if I'm learning at tuition, why do I learn in school? If I'm learning in school, why do I learn from tutor? So lots of confusion, and child is
I
in a
actually
situation.
relived that journey after I became a mum, because I could see the same thing happening. And I did question myself that, you know what, the tutor is not even licensed to be teaching, because I,
Mm.
as an adult, can only specialize in one or two subjects humanly. I
Yes,
cannot specialize in all.
yes, that's true. That's true.
And it is not right of me to choose one tutor and say that you teach all five
All the
subjects.
subjects, yeah. And it
That is
happens.
also an incorrect thing. But then eventually, when I divided all the five subjects and I got five tutors, I realized that again, it's a hit and trial method.
Yes, yes.
I will not get to know until the quarterly or the half yearly exams go
Marks
by.
cut.
Until then, the dent is already done. And I would replicate the same thing, sir, in the last 4 5 years. I don't know if you would agree with me. If I leave my child to study alone, thinking that the child is smart enough to learn on their own, the other biggest, I would say, I don't know if it's a blessing or a boon that we can decide, is the internet. When they don't have the answers, they start looking for it everywhere. Again, the information is authentic or unauthentic. Again, is another problem.
Yeah.
So somehow that is the whole foundation, I guess, that with extra marks that we followed, that continuity from school to home is a very big deal, because when the teacher has prepped and planned a lesson in a certain way and the homework is attached, making sure that it takes the concept home to real life application, and when the child attempts it at home with their parent, automatically the circle closes. That actually takes me to my next question here, sir, which is again an image based question. So let me just show you a small slide. Now, what I did was I visit schools a lot as in across India, and I sit through lessons where teachers are teaching. I mean, the teachers are teaching, and I just make notes of what is the flow of the lesson. Now, one flow I picked up sometime in 2015-16. And there is another flow that I recently have picked up in the last 1 or 2 years. I see a huge shift in the way the lessons are being delivered. I would want to show it to you. And I would want you to validate, sir, that which few elements are a must for every, I would say, class and every teacher to include in their lesson planning that you personally feel are very, very crucial. Allow me one quick minute. I'll just share my screen. Now, this is a very layman approach. It is not a proper lesson plan. These are just my notes, which I've converted into basic understanding here. This is the first flow, sir. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, yeah, visible.
So this is the flow lesson plan that I saw sometime in 15 and 16, 2015, 16.
Mm.
The second flow that I captured in the last 1 year is this. It was much more elaborate and it had many more items and aspects to it. Both of them are for atoms, the structure of atoms and how molecules are structured for a sixth grade, I guess. Both of them were for sixth or seventh grade, very young learners. So I'm sure any educator who would look at this would say Flow 2 is really amazing
Yeah,
and
that's
is the ideal way of going forward.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted your thoughts, sir. What items of these would you say are a must for every teacher, and why should they be included in every lesson or every subject? Can I remove it from the screen?
No, I just looking up the
Sure.
flow 2.
Sure.
Because flow 1 is not at all good.
It looked perfect when I walked into a class in 2015 or 14, I guess. It was absolutely fine.
Because introducing the concept of atom and molecules to class 6th grade children, unless you show some material and you talk about what is the minimum, what particle minimum, the least particle by which this particular substance is being made, what is the lowest element or lowest thing of this particular substance you're talking about. Then they may talk about, if I say I'm showing a glass full of water and I'm saying this water, you can see by what constituents it is made up of. What things are there? So there may be some molecules, and they are constituting the whole substance, and that molecule might be having some other subatomic atoms. So what we basically call it, and then showing some videos also that this is how these atoms they unite together and form a molecule of water H2O, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. And that is how the concept of atoms and molecules must be taught to the children. So this is the
But then if
second
I look at both the plans, they both have visual media in it. They
visual
both have
media,
activities.
but when we talk
The
about
checkbox is there for everything.
direct giving their definition is not the right way of dealing with the chapter, unless you introduce the chapter in a different manner with the real life situations and you ask certain questions based on that, and then you come to that topic that what I'm going to talk about. So that is there in the second flow. It is not there in the first video where the structure of atom is being shown. But what basically why atom is required to make a molecule, and what are the sub atomic particles of the atoms also, that is, if you're directly talking about it, a child may get confused.
So
So,
I'll be very honest. This is the flow one is what I also experienced when I was a kid. Maybe
mm,
that is why the concept was never clear for me. But when
yeah,
I sat through the second class about a year back,
mm,
some things started making sense to me.
yeah,
So, out of these elements that you see,
mm,
explaining with real life examples, showing videos that have context to the explanation, and
mm,
then how to help students reach to organized thinking,
yes,
and the
yes.
kind of checks that are done. Out of these, which ones do you think are really important, and almost all classes, all lesson plans should include these?
I think everything is important because explanation, video, drawing, showing the drawing of that particular uh, substance, and then discussion on that, and organized thinking, that the comparison between the atoms and molecules to be done, digital interactive activities, classify material atom based on molecules based, that question, the MCQs must be based on that, that learning checks to be done. And only thing, order has to be, learning checks has to be first, the homework part should be later on. The daily life application questions that can be asked later on,
Okay.
and check the understanding, that is good that they have understood the concepts of atom and molecules or not. And then I think everything is so important. Then you can give some homework at home.
Okay. Okay. All right. I get your point that everything is important.
Mm.
And I mean, basis the subject, it would matter.
Yeah.
And I mean, adding on to this, if the modules are created in a layered manner where it moves from simple to complex. It
Yeah,
really works best.
definitely.
And
Has
just to
to.
let you know, sir, with the modules, the kind of modules Extra Marks has in picture, the module is playing and it pauses after a topic has been delivered. And that is where it unfolds a check for understanding, which is very, very intuitive in nature to understand if that much has been understood or not. So it has those layers and checks already inbuilt, which
Yes.
I feel, like you said, the learning check should happen in between rather than waiting for things to end.
Yes.
So very well placed, sir. Very well placed, and you pointed out exactly the the piece that even I felt can be done better. So moving to a level where I would want to think on a the focus to the school level, sir. Now, because you are a school leader and you've headed many academic years and you've given direction to a lot of teachers, uh, when your teachers create lesson plans in silos in independent spaces, the outcome would be an X. But when you tell your teachers to start sharing their digital modules and collaborating, coming together to a consensus where they have collaboratively agreed on a lesson plan and they're sharing their resources with each other, even subject teachers are sharing resources with each other. Do you think the outcome is same as X or do you see it as Y? And which of the two has worked for you over the years?
See, when they, because as you said, it is very, very true. Unless they share things, what they have thought of, and others also, that they also share their things with others. And then collaboratively, they work together. If they have some difference of opinion, or if they have a different structures of planning a lesson, or there is some confusion in between, they can collaborate with each other and find out the right planning so that that can be incorporated in that particular class. So that is why we also follow the same. The everybody shares their point of view, and then finally this departmental meetings are conducted, and then they finally make a final draft of a lesson, and that will be followed by every teacher in that particular subject, so that there has a system of the process checks and delivering and everything, so that if they find that it is working well, because there is a periodic checks on that also, then that continues. And if they find it is not working to that extent which we were expecting, then definitely there would be some moderation. And then again they sit for a meeting and then decide what extra they can do for that.
That's quite an interesting way of putting it, sir.
Mm,
That when resources are shared, the outcomes are even better, and there is more scope for enhancement.
that's true.
And I do remember this situation where I remember uh, there was a class where a Hindi teacher had just taught uh, nouns. And when the English teacher in the next period walked in and she wanted to teach noun, children had difficulty in understanding the whole concept of noun and pronoun. Now, because all resources were shared in the school, they could pick any resource from anywhere, and the children were more inclined towards Hindi as a subject. She opened the last paragraph of the Hindi lesson the Hindi teacher had taught. And she went back to the definition and says noun is name, place, animal, thing. And pronoun is what you call them when you're not calling them by name. And then she said, in this Hindi paragraph, can you circle the pronouns, which happened immediately? It was the same resource that the Hindi teacher used. And with the kind of learn lists that Extra Marks has developed in-house, it is very much possible to share resources like that. So I could see beautifully the interconnections and the interdisciplinary approach playing really well, which, like you said, people can come back and start discussing what worked and what did not work. In fact, one more example that I saw was the whole class was very inclined towards cricket. And the maths teacher was simply trying to do addition and subtraction. The children would just not understand when he was talking about apples and bananas and vegetables to be bought in uh, in the vegetable market. So many apples put in the bag, so many bananas put in the bag, how many apples and fruits do I have, and things like that. The moment the teacher switched the context to cricket and said three sixes and two runs, how much did I make? They had immediate answers. So the context changed, but the topic and the learning remained the same. So, like you said, that lesson plans can be done in 100 different ways, but when they're collaborated, I feel that the effort can be made interdisciplinary as well.
That's true. Because everybody, those who have that different interest and they understand in that interest which they like most. And giving examples of cricket or giving examples of vegetables or fruits might not might be having different results, as you said. The child does
That
some.
particular class, yes, I could see that difference
Yeah.
big time.
Mm.
So, coming to my last question, sir.
Yeah.
Now, as per you, lesson planning, if it is truly, truly aligned to NEP goals, and there are digital assets also implanted,
Mm.
as a school leader, I'm sure you see some visible changes that you expect from the students, not just marks, but in the confidence, the curiosity, and
Yes.
thinking level also.
Yeah.
Over time, obviously, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a couple of months to show that difference.
That's true.
So, have you actually had any such moments when you have introduced uh, more planned lesson planning or inclusive of digital nuggets implanted in it, and you could see a difference? I would want you to share a little bit about that moment when
That's
you had your happy turnaround saying that it actually paid off.
definitely, definitely. If we have some resources and that could help the teachers to explain the things in a better way, and that is a time saver way of also, and teachers also get the ready-made materials on which they can work on, and that would help the children to understand it well. So that would be really helpful. And I have noticed that these things definitely help the children to understand things well and develops that curiosity in them and make them more confident towards that particular subject and topic, whatever is being taught through those outsourced sources and all.
So, would you be able to, sir, pinpoint a particular change that you made in your school, Ekayana,
See,
and you saw a huge difference? Can you pinpoint one?
we have not basically have gone for any outsourced material so far.
Okay.
We have asked the teachers to make their own lesson planning and incorporate those inputs of videos and other technological things included in that particular lesson. But after all, all the teachers are not alike. Some they do it well, some they do not do it well. So if the same kind of outsourced materials are available and they follow uh, to that material and work accordingly, the things would definitely improve.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. That has been very, very insightful. And I think I would round off the whole conversation to the level that, like you said, you've asked the teachers to build their own content. I'm sure that's a very big ask, and there would be different kind of struggles, I'm sure, to it.
That's
But the way AI is taking over, I know it's important that teachers have their own customized plans. With Extra Marks, we do have that ability that the teachers can have their own lesson plans completely, but one or two items that will help them or support them to keep things in line is also possible. So blending of teacher resources with
Their own
facilitated
ability.
resources is
Yeah,
possible. It is possible.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Uttam sir, for the wonderful discussion. It really enlightened me with a lot of new things that I have not known till now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Uttam sir, for your time and your inputs on the topic planning with purpose. I'm sure all our viewers are really going to benefit out of the discussion today. It was a good interactive discussion. I mean, I was, though not online, but I was hearing the entire conversation and looking at the videos and the concepts and everything. It was a good interaction. Thank you so much, Uttam sir, for your time. Thank you, Kusum, for your inputs and actually taking over this session so seamlessly. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Tanya.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Uttam sir.